recently there was the 42nd anniversary of Iran's 1979 revolution. It's been 42 years since that happened. And the current president of Iran, Hassan Rouhani, urged the United States to restore the 2015 nuclear deal, the deal that essentially Trump tore apart and got everybody out of. So now Iran is wanting to restore it, and they're saying they want an end to the sanctions. Right now, the sanctions are really, really crippling them, and they're saying, they've actually said, quote, "Diplomacy is the only way forward." Now, this was Rouhani's last speech before the election in June. So Rouhani has completed his full term as president, his 2 terms as president. So there will be a new successor that he's going to have after the June elections. So this is the last speech of this kind that he's going to give. And at the same time, Iran's intelligence minister, right, is a man named Mahmoud Alavi, warns that Iran is going to proceed with making a nuclear weapon. They actually openly said they will make a nuclear weapon if these sanctions remain in place. And what's more is the International Atomic Energy Agency, or the IAEA, has now confirmed that Iran is it has begun to produce uranium metal. So there's a new administration right now in the US, the Biden administration. They've been kind of cautious about this. They're a little hesitant about returning to things the way that they were, because things are very different. Now you have Israel's alliances with a lot of the Arab nations like the UAE and Sudan and Bahrain, and the lifting of airspace restrictions over Saudi Arabia and so on. So there's a lot of things that have completely changed since the Iran deal, the Obama's Iran deal, was actually inked, and so these are really interesting developments. And of course, we've had the killing of Soleimani, we've had the assassination of the nuclear scientist Fakhrizadeh. Yeah, so there have been a lot of things that are different. So let's start with this: the Iran deal. Trump ripped it up. You would expect that Biden might want to restore it. Why is the Biden administration hesitant or slow to get back into the Iran deal? What's going on, Armin?
Okay, there's so much going on. I don't even know where to start right now. Okay,
that's why that was the whole purpose of the primary. I'm really, really, really fascinated by this. I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
Can you add to your summary before we go to the analysis what was said in the interview by by Iran's head of intelligence agency, the Alawi guy? Because that is like maybe we should start with that. Dive into that, because that interview live on Iranian TV was earth-shattering for 2 reasons: one for internally, one externally. You want to give the date on when that happened and what was the significance of it?
No, I don't have that off the top of my head, so I'm going to let you do that. But I want to say that one thing that I think that's really significant about this is I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Iran has actually openly said that they're building a nuclear weapon ever.
Until now.
And then this guy, and this isn't just this isn't just any dude, right? This is like Iran's intelligence chief, right?
This is like the head of. This is kind of like the head of CIA in Iran.
Like the head of the CIA, right? He comes out and he says, if the sanctions remain in place, Iran will make a nuclear weapon. So he's saying that outright. This has never been said by anybody in Iran before. And
if you're not shocked by this, is because you're so naive to think like, well, of course they're building a nuclear weapon. Like, you have no idea how. Like, if you're like, well, of course, that's what I assumed they wanted to do. So you are like so naive. You have not been following anything. If you're not like if you don't understand how earth-shattering this is, right? Because this is the Islamic Republic for the past, I don't know how many years has it been, since the beginning of the nuclear deal and before it. They're like, yeah, we want nuclear energy for peaceful reasons, right? We even had Khamenei issuing a fatwa. What year was that? That was I forgot when. That was like many years ago, right? Mm-hmm. He came out and said he issued a fatwa. I think it was in 2000.
That was against building nuclear weapons, right?
Yeah, against the nuclear weapons.
Because that's not what they do.
Saying that this is haram.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so apparently it started in 2013. Officially, he's okay. I'm gonna look what year was this, right? But
Yeah.
he officially issued a fatwa. That's a huge deal for a supreme leader, a supreme religious leader, that his word is like the word of God, saying having nuclear weapons is haram. Right, so this is like a competition between taqiyya and fatwa right now. We don't know which one is stronger. Apparently, the taqiyya, these are Shias do taqiyya. Apparently, we learned that doesn't mean that they're not going to have nuclear weapon, because every single person that has been defending Iran's side, not just Iran's government, right, but not just the Islamic Republic itself, but every other Westerner, liberals, leftists, even conservatives who are saying, like, defending, like, oh yeah, Iran is doing this for peaceful reasons. They constantly focus on how they even Kerry, right, use this fatwa by Khamenei to be like, look, this is Khamenei speaking. They can't go back on this. Like, this is a fatwa, right? Like, this man's word is the word of God. Like, it's treated like the word of God by the government in Iran. So if he says this is haram, like, they basically tied their own hands. Like, there's no way to undo this. And Iran's government, I have to say Iran's government, not Iran. Iran's government has been insisting for years now that they never want a nuclear weapon. This has nothing to do with having a nuclear weapon. I mean, we have been saying that is a lie, because and we even have like recordings apparently now to show that we were right. I mean, our assumption was that they don't want to have a nuclear weapon. They just want to be 2 steps away from having one, so that if they ever need one, they could go from not having one to having one. That gives being in that situation gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you the deterrent, power of having a nuclear weapon, but it also has all the claims of us. We want nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. All the benefits of having international relationships, of not having a nuclear weapon. So if you could be in a limbo situation that you don't have it, but you could have it at a moment's notice, that would be the ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, we were like, game theory wise, that was the best situation to be. And given recent information coming out from Mossad's intelligence, shows that we were right about that, right? But now this is like a major escalation, because this is a shock to me, because even if they wanted that in secret, coming out and publicly on live TV and announcing to the world, like, hey, you know what? Yes, our leader, our supreme leader, issued a fatwa and said that this is haram and all, and we will never do this. But what he specifically said, that is, if we get cornered, if you corner a cat and the cat he specifically said a cat, right? And the cat doesn't have any option. The cat might do some crazy things that it's not the cat's fault if the cat does some crazy things that you push them into. Again, this is not my. If the analogy is stupid, it's not my analogy. It's his analogy.
Iran's a cat. But let me read the quote, actually.
Okay.
Read it in English. So this is what Alavi said. He said, our nuclear program is a peaceful program, and the supreme leader clearly said in his fatwa that producing nuclear weapons is against religious law, and the Islamic Republic will not pursue it and considers it forbidden. But let me tell you, if you corner a cat, it might behave differently than a cat roaming free. If they push Iran in that direction, it would not be Iran's fault, but the fault of those who pushed Iran.
Right. So we have, for the first time, the head of Iran's intelligence agency live on national TV threatening the world with a nuclear weapon. This is coming from inside Iran, and not just like this random general or this other staff member of Zarif's department or something like that. This is the head of Iran's intelligence agency. Okay?
I want to say Iran, like, current estimates show that Iran's about 2 years away from making a nuclear weapon.
That's according to Israel.
That's according to Israel. And Israel's been, I don't know, Netanyahu's been talking about that since the 90s. They're 1 year away, they're 2 years away, there's 4 years away. He's been going on and on and on the whole time.
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, And most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.